Oh, hello there. Anyway, yeah, it's been a while. It's let's see, August 1st, 2018. I'm wearing my Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse shirt here. Um, I haven't really done any of these soul searching videos in quite some time. Probably because I just haven't been searching any souls, especially my own. I've just been kind of just chugging along on this on life's super highway, and yeah, just been real busy with everything, and the last week has been I wouldn't say traumatizing, but kind of it's kind of grounded me a bit. I think speaking of grounded. Seeing my mom on the floor with a broken hand, arm broken in three places. That was very hard to see, but very hard for me to see her suffer. And that almost killed me too. Well, it didn't kill her, but it almost killed me. I had I do part of what this is, my little therapy thing, that maybe I'll look back at. I always say this, I'll look back. I probably won't. I don't really believe too much in looking back, but it might be useful. Like I've mentioned before, for future generations, I try to piece together things, what was going on. But anyway, as I always digress. I had worked 3 hours later than usual last week, and I think I walked in around 2 in the morning, and my mom was on the floor. She'd fallen down, and like I mentioned, broken her hand, and she was in terrible pain. But at the same time, didn't want me calling an ambulance or all that, which is understandable because we've seen that before. They don't just send an ambulance, but they send the fire department. They send they're all flashing the sirens and all that shit. You think it's Armageddon, and luckily, with my scenario, I was able to talk the operator. By some miracle of fate, I was able to talk her into just sending an ambulance, and her answer was, "Well, we'll do it this time, but next time we're going to do what we want to do." And I was like, "Geez, that's kind of rude." But anyway, things worked out okay. Things could have been a lot worse. I think of a few weeks back, I had gone to New York City for the weekend to visit my brother, and what if it had happened? What happened to her happened, that Saturday night, and the sad thing. She wasn't didn't have that for the medical alert around her neck that would have, she could have pressed a button instead of waiting for me to get home 3 hours, instead of being on the floor all that time. And, we'd had warnings before, and we didn't do nothing about it. And, anybody in that situation, anybody over the age, I might get one for myself, for Christ's sakes. It's, where she doesn't carry the phone. I keep telling her, I keep the phone on you all the time. She never does. It's like you get older and the situations become reversed, because I never listened to anything my mother would tell me to do or whatever. And now everything is kind of doing a 180. So God has a sense of humor in that way. It's like, oh yeah, you wish I knew when I was younger, what a pain in the ass I was, because I think things are things are changing around. But I've been just, wrapping my head around, trying to figure out what the whole point of, what is this life all about? What do we do? And I had a few arguments when I went to school up the street with the priests and the nuns about things like what makes you think, along the lines of things I was hearing were that the only Catholics went to heaven, and I never liked that. I didn't think that's what that should be the thing, that only because I grew up in this, luckily in a pretty decent neighborhood full of cliques and assholes, but that's beside the point. But at least in a nice area, and I had nothing to do with that. I had no say in that. I could have been born over in the Middle East. I could have been born in the jungle as Swahili or whatever, with an entirely different belief system. And because of that randomness, because of that fluke, or whatever. I could have grown up, like again, in a terrorist type of society, Al Qaeda, like that, where I would have had no choice on how I would have been. And I would think that whatever God that we do have would have that sense of where we were coming from, and that the things that I was being taught up there were that the only true religion was one that that I had no say in, whatever. And where am I going with this? So who were they? We see how much trouble the church got into, and that's a whole other story. But I think my thing that I kind of wrap my head around, that kind of makes it easier for me to kind of deal with the future, with everybody. We're all going to go at some point, and I think what makes it easier for me to deal with is that there's no way in my minds that that we go, when we do go, that we're looking down here and making sure everything is working out for everybody, because things, it doesn't work that way. Things happen very bad, and I think if when you die, if heaven is a version of a one-way mirror, where that's for our own, I think, our own sanity, that when we lose somebody, that they're always looking down at us. That would be a hell for them. My point would be that would be hell for me, when I go, that I would have to be looking down and seeing, because you have to take the good with the bad, right? When the bad things happen, say a car accident or something like that, what is like a one-way mirror go up, like in the Madonna video there, for whatever that song is, with the fun house, but whatever. All right, another tangent, but like the way I would say, the way that makes it easier for me, I think, to deal with, is that we're already up there. This would be like an episode of Lost, to it, that we've always been there. We've always been together. That everybody that we have in this life, we're already up where we are. We've always been there. Infinity and beyond. Buzz Lightyear, whatever. So this is just a version. And I don't know if we keep coming back and back like the Shirley MacLaine crap or what. I don't know how that works. But I think, like, say, like my dad's case, he's been gone 25 years or whatever. So he's always, he's not waiting for my mom, and he's not sitting up there watching her suffer right now. He's not up there watching her fall down and being on the floor for 3 hours with a broken hand and probably screaming. I don't know what was going on with her when I wasn't here. He's not seeing that, because that would be hell for him. That would be hell for him to see her suffering, and like that. It just would be, and the same thing with his mother, my grandmother, watching my dad suffer with cancer and stuff like that. They can't see that. That would just be torture. So, like I say, I think we've always been, what our spirits have always been together for infinity. Now you can't even put a number on it. Trinity, trillion, gazillion, bazillion, whatever there's no concept of time. So wherever you're at, wherever we're all at, we all, like this version of us right now, it's almost like we're playing a role or whatever. We still have to work hard. We still have to get to where we have to get, but that we've always been where we are. We've always been up there. We don't remember it, of course. It's almost like at night when you fall asleep and you dream and you're like, boy, that was crazy. It's kind of like a version of that you've always been there, and this is just kind of it's a test or whatever, and we won't know. I think, like I said, the thing that works for me is that when we get there, it's like we've never left. Like we get up to that spiritual world. It's like we never left. We've always been together, and that the people that we run into on this planet, it's not all a fluke or whatever. That we've always been with those spirits or whatever. And then when we're back, that it's almost like a parallel universe, that we'd be with all. We've always been there, and that this is just, I don't know, whatever. And whether we just keep coming back, or whether this is the last journey, or I don't. Like I said, and if we come back for another journey or whatever, I guess we get brainwashed and we get the same cast of characters or whatever. But the thing is that the home base is where we are. That our spirits have always been, don't ask me how it works with guys like Hitler and stuff like that. Are they always there? I don't know. But yeah, I think we're up to about 10 minutes now. I don't need anybody to talk to, man. I could just talk all night long. So, yeah, me and Lionel Richie. So that's it, and that's my theory on everything. Adios. Boy, guys, shut this fucker up. All right, I'm done. Adios.